What's going on, Deep Dive Spear Crew? Guy Brock here. Yesterday I dropped a video on pulling some brackets out from under the boat trailer. Stuff I usually do in the wintertime whenever I have time, but you know, when stuff breaks, you got to fix it if you want to go fishing. I got a trip planned, headed back to Mexico Beach for scallop season next, in September, and so I'm trying to get these brackets fixed up and these bunks fixed up. So yesterday, like I said, I pulled them out, took the oxyacetylene torch, cut the brackets, pulled the brackets out, put them on the workbench, and now I'm going to finish that project up and show you how I do that. So y'all stay with us. So the first thing you want to do is get under here and you want to measure the distance, obviously, from the inside of this bunk to that bunk back there. Inside to inside is 38.5 inches. And so that's where I'm going to set my brackets. So I've already cut this 2x6, this treated 2x6 to length. They're roughly 4 feet long. I just got a 2x6 bait treated from the hardware store and cut it in half, and that's going to be fine. Each one of these brackets, each one of these bunks, they have 2 brackets on each end, one pointing in, one pointing out. And I went ahead and laid my measurements out yesterday, here and here. Now from the factory they come with these lag bolts, or I guess from the trailer dealership. They usually take these lags and put them in right here, and they never hold, especially when you're dealing with a heavy boat like a deep V. There's so much pressure put on these front bunks whenever you load them. Invariably these lag bolts pull out. I've had that happen on my Grady. I've had it happen on this boat right here. And so what you got to do is take some stainless steel 3/8 bolts and 3-bolt them from the top, put your carpet back on, and then you can order some slides to actually screw onto these. I've got some of those ordered, and I'll show you those whenever they get here. So the next step is I want to go ahead and make sure everything's laid out as it should be. Take my stainless hardware. A lot of times I'll take this, put these together. Just makes it easier to lay everything out. Just go ahead and lock them together. Make sure they're square. I've got each one approximately 3 1/4 inches to this first plate from the end. Take my drill. Use the starter bits. You don't want to use a 3/8 bit necessarily unless you can lock this in place, which you can do. If you take a clamp like so, clamp it in place. Get your starter hose. Now there are holes for 6 bolts, but 4 is plenty on these. If you feel like you need to put 6, you can. I'll put one, kind of hold that in place, so don't wiggle around on me. So I drill these other ones out. You can get these from your local hardware store. It's got these from Home Depot. So then I'm just putting them in to hold as a placeholder. Get this last one done. Check and make sure your measurement is correct. Inside to inside would be the inside right here of this bracket. to the outside of this bracket, which you can see right here is 38.5 inches. I got myself an 1/8 of an inch buffer right there just in case. It's not going to hurt. And again, 3 1/4 inches this way. Make sure you're centered this way. G-clamp to help hold it in place. Just pop you some as you go. I've got my everything in place. I'll take and bring my bolts back from the other side. As you put them in, you're going to take a hammer and seat them. You actually want them countersunk down into the wood. You just want to pull them flush, or you can either take the nut and put it on the back side and pull it down flush, or you can take a hammer and tap them in, which is typically what I do. And these are 2-inch machine bolts. Stainless, like I said. Don't go cheap and get some nickel plated or some other crap like that, because you'll be replacing them in no time if you're dealing with salt water. We'll countersink them. And if you tighten them up, it'll finish pulling them on in. If you take your hammer and tap them in like this, it'll kind of lock them in. If you try to pull them up, a lot of times the bolt head will actually spin. It does it less if you do it this way. Oh. Make sure you put a flat washer and a lock washer on them, or if you got some nylon nuts, those work well also. I'm going to take that one out. That's a little bit longer one than I anticipated. I'll add some 2.5 inch bolts also. I'm going to pull this 2.5 out and put a 2 in. It's too much waste when using 2.5s. Actually got to cut it off to get it out of the way. To put your bunk bracket on. Just put it in my spare bin. Always have you a spare bin of stainless parts whenever you have a saltwater boat. Because it's not if you're going to replace stuff, it's just a matter of when. It's always good to put you a little bit of Loctite on it. Just for good measure. Just once a little rust sets in these, after being dunked in salt water a few times, they'll lock themselves on. But I trailer 4 hours to the Gulf, and I do not want these backing out. You see, I've got my hand under here feeling whenever my bolt head goes flush. That's where I want it. All right, from there, I'm ready to put the carpet back on. I'm reusing this carpet that I took off. It's not in terrible shape, but like I said, I'm actually putting plastic runners on top of it, so the boat won't be sliding on this anyway once I get those on. I'm sure you can get some staples that are made specifically for carpet, but I just use the typical 1/2 inch staples. And when I do my winter maintenance, I'll get under there and pop a few more staples in, because these will rust out as you use the boat. And the other bunks that came off were just a little bit longer than these, so I have to adjust the carpet as I go. And this carpet looks like it's been replaced before. We just start from the middle. It's typically what I do. Get some good purchase on it. Work my way down. Get everything on there good and tight, and then I'll come back and staple the mess out of it. If you need to cut around your brackets, just have you a little handy dandy blade. Just cut it loose. Now the carpet usually starts coming apart anywhere you have an edge, so you want to make sure you staple the edges really well. Next step, put your brackets back on. Again, stainless hardware. You don't want to tighten these up until you get it back under the boat, because you want it to flex one way or the other depending on the pitch of the hull. So just hand tighten them until you get under there. This is the hardware I ordered from Amazon, stainless steel U-bolts. That's what I cut off with a torch yesterday. These come with this thick bracket, which I do like. So there, just set it in place. Just hand tighten them on initially. This is much easier if you have somewhere to float your boat to get it done. But if you don't, you can do it just like this. Just put you a jack in the middle. A little wood, piece of wood to save your, make sure your hull doesn't get messed up. And there's not a whole lot of weight on the jack itself. Most of the bow weight is actually up on the bow roller anyway. So just get them in the same spot your last ones were. That's kind of where you want to be. That's where the factory or the boat yard set it anyway. And hand tighten them up as you push up. And go in evenly on your U-bolts. You don't want one side tighter than the other. And if you have a second floor jack, it works well too to put it right here and jack that up so you don't have to hold it with your arm. But if you don't, just hold it with your arm. Now you got your pitch correct on the bottom of your hull, and you can tighten everything up. That's tight. Tighten it some more. Crescent wrenches are great, or adjustable wrenches if you want to call them that. However, using a box end wrench is much better. Just stay on there. You can actually do it with two hands. Tighten them, and then tighten them some more. Tight as you can go. Well, that's about it. Nothing much to it. Like I said, nothing too deep, just like our moniker on Deep Dive Spear Crew is. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. If you like this kind of content, check in with us in a few weeks. Hopefully we'll get to go back and chase some more mangrove snapper, red snapper, and things like that down in the Gulf of America. Until next time, remember, nothing too deep. Deep Dive Spear Crew. Y'all take care.